Beasley for the plaintiff. May I proceed?
Beasley.
Please introduce yourself to the jury, spelling your last name for the record.
My name is Andy Park. Park is spelled P-A-R-K.
Tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, I'm married to my husband Lee. We've been married for 22 years now. We met in college after I finished the Navy. And then we moved to Fairview. We got jobs at the hospital. And that's when I had my daughter Sydney. And now I'm a college administrator.
Tell us about Sydney.
Sydney was my pride and joy. She was my little girl. She was very quiet, a lot like me, kind of a homebody, like to read books. She's not here anymore.
When was the last time you saw Sydney?
It was August 18th, 2010. And that day, I got up to go to work. I fed Sydney breakfast, and I kissed her on the cheek, said, "I'll be checking up on you." And I left for work. But I didn't know that'd be the last time I'd ever see her alive.
What happened to Sydney?
That day she was shot.
You said she was shot. To your knowledge, where did this gun come from?
It was my gun.
You had a child in the house. Why would you have a gun in the first place?
We had some break-ins, and my husband was always traveling for work, so I bought a gun for self-defense just to protect my family. And from my time in the Navy, I was comfortable with that.
How did you store this gun?
I stored the gun in a safe, which I did a ton of research on to make sure I could find the most reliable safe that I could. And I stored the bullets away from the gun, and I stored the combination as best I could.
I want to talk about this combination. Where did you store that?
I stored the combination on a blank piece of paper in a filing cabinet that I kept in my office.
If I were to show you a picture of this cabinet today, would you recognize it?
Yes.
Your Honor, permission to approach opposing counsel with
You
plaintiff's
may.
one? Permission to approach the witness in turn?
You may.
What about his hand?
This is a picture of my filing cabinet.
Does that appear to be a fair and accurate copy?
Yes, I don't see anything wrong with it.
Your Honor, the plaintiff moves to admit plaintiff's sworn evidence.
No, Your Honor. Objection to one admitted evidence.
May I retrieve it from the witness and publish it? Why did you keep the combination in this drawer?
I kept the combination in the drawer because there was hundreds of other folders in there, and I kept it in its own file, and I thought it would be hidden enough.
Did Sydney ever ask you about your gun?
Yes, she did ask me one time about the gun, and I was completely shocked that she'd even asked me because I never told her I even had a gun. I was completely shocked. And after she asked me, I was slightly concerned, so I went to the safe, made sure the gun was unloaded, the safe was locked, the bullets were away from the gun, and everything was as secure as I could.
On August 18th, was Sydney alone in the home?
No, I didn't leave Sydney alone. Sydney was with Jesse Duran, and I asked our neighbor Keith across the street to check up on the girls throughout the day because our babysitter called in sick the last minute.
Who is Jesse Duran?
Jesse Duran was our next door neighbor at the time, and someone who played with Sydney rather often. We watched Jesse when Sydney's mom had to go to work.
Who was Jesse's mom?
Hayden Duran.
What is your relationship, or what was your relationship with Hayden Duran?
Well, I met Hayden Duran back in 2004. and-
Objection relevance. Let's state your objection.
How is her relationship relevant to the negligence of Hayden's parenting on Jesse?
Response.
Your Honor, we are merely establishing foundation that the two were neighbors, the two children played together often, and therefore the two would have to know each other for this charge of negligence to be brought about.
Reply.
I stand by my objection of how is her relationship with Hayden relevant to the negligence of Jesse's parent.
Objection is overruled. You may proceed.
What was your relationship with Hayden Doran?
I met Hayden back in 2004. We both worked at the hospital together. And then we became next door neighbors, and since our kids were the same age, they started to play together. But they were very different kids.
How were they different?
Well, when Jessie would come over, she would disobey my house rules and bring over video games that I did not allow in my home.
What would you do when you saw these video games?
I would take them away from Jessie and told her that she could have them back when her mom came to pick her up.
How did Jesse react when you did this?
Jessie would be very upset, and in one instance, actually.
Objection, speculation?
State your objection.
She's speculating as to Jesse's reaction to her confiscating Jesse's video games.
Response.
Your Honor, this statement was based off her rationally based perceptions. If opposing counsel would like me to rephrase, I can.
Reply.
Yeah, rephrase.
I'm gonna overrule the objection. You may proceed.
How did Jesse seem to react when you took these games away?
Jessie seemed very upset, and to me looked upset, and actually threw a temper tantrum, falling on the ground and screaming.
Did you ever inform Hayden Doran of that event?
Yes, I told Hayden about my concerns with Jessie.
How did you see Hayden Doran react?
Hayden brushed it off and made excuses.
Bringing you back to the day of August 18, 2010. What happened after you left your home?
So I had just gotten to work, and that's when I received a phone call from the police.
What was said to you in this phone call?
They told me that there had been an incident and that I needed to hurry home. And my mind was just racing, so I sped all the way home, and when I pulled in the driveway, it was just a madhouse.
What did you see when you got up to your home?
There was cop cars everywhere, and an ambulance. And I got out of my car and I was just screaming Sydney's name. I was just hoping that she was okay. And then I got up to the door and I went in, but I wish I would have just stayed outside.
What did you see when you went inside?
I saw a small body on the floor. It was covered in a white sheet that was just soaked with blood. And I saw pink flip-flops on the foot of the body. And I just fell to my knees. I was just crying and crying.
Who was it?
It was Sydney. And I just felt all the life just drain out of me. And my world just came crashing down. I just wanted to hold her one last time. I didn't even get to say goodbye. And then the police just dragged me outside. They didn't even let me near her.
Thank you. No further questions.
Thank you. Cross-examination.
Your Honor.